the all-new Note 20 Ultra shares a lot of its specifications with the S20 Ultra from earlier this year. And at a launch price of Rs 1,05,000, it's also very expensive. So in this video, let's find out who this phone is exactly for. First up, let's start with the design, and it goes without saying that the Note 20 Ultra looks really polished. This new Mystic Bronze color with its matte look gives the phone a very premium vibe. Even the camera island of the Note 20 Ultra is very well designed. However, it is really big, just look at it. At the front of the smartphone is the star of the show. The Note 20 Ultra has a 6.9-inch AMOLED display, and like most Samsung smartphones, this display is brilliant. In fact, for this phone, I think it is the best smartphone display that you can buy today. Icing on the cake is that super smooth 120Hz refresh rate of the display. Now this makes your journal tasks like navigating through the UI a really special experience. On the software front, the Note 20 Ultra comes with Samsung's new One UI 2.5. Minor refinements aside, One UI 2.5 is exactly like the One UI that we've seen on previous Samsung phones, which means that it's a very familiar experience. This also means that One UI 2.5 is a fairly heavy Android skin, so those who are fan of stock Android may not like it. On the flip side, the user experience is pretty feature-rich and also quite smooth thanks to that 12GB of RAM on board. But I must mention that if you're after the smoothest Android experience around, then OnePlus's Oxygen OS is still the king. The good news here is that with the Note 20 series, Samsung is promising next 3 major Android updates. Now this was much needed on a premium phone like this. Now it's time to shift our focus on those triple rear cameras. The main camera of the Note 20 Ultra is that same large 108 megapixel sensor that debuted on the S20 Ultra earlier this year. However, as you might remember, the S20 Ultra had focusing issues. Therefore, to fix that, Samsung has also added a laser focus module on the Note 20 Ultra. And as it turns out, the focusing issues have been fixed quite a bit. The images produced by this 108 megapixel camera are full of detail with fantastic dynamic range. In fact, the Note 20 Ultra's main camera definitely ranks among the top 3 cameras on smartphones that you can buy today. Competent post-processing really shines in night mode photographs, where the shots come out to be full of detail even though there's a bit of noise. In terms of videos, the main camera yet again produces some pretty pleasing results. The optical image stabilization ensures that the videos come to be brilliantly stabilized. Next up, we've got a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle camera on the Note 20 Ultra. Now this camera's performance is pretty good, but going by the phone's price, it could have been a lot better. The lack of autofocus here is pretty baffling on a phone that costs well over Rs 1 lakh. On the flip side, the ultra wide angle camera also features Samsung's Super Steady EIS. So, the videos taken from this camera come out to be very impressively stabilized. The third camera is a pretty impressive periscope unit with 5x optical zoom. It also has 50x of hybrid zoom. As you'd expect, the samples taken at 5x magnification do come out to be pretty impressive and full of detail. Samsung's potent photography algorithms again come into play here, as at 50x, there's a lot of post-processing going on which kind of clears out and tries to extract the maximum detail out of that pixelated photograph. All in all, it's really impressive to have this range of camera focal length on a smartphone, and in certain scenarios, it can come out to be really handy. Next up, we'll talk about the fly in the ointment, which is the Note 20 Ultra's Exynos 990 SoC. Now, in case you do not know, the Note 20 Ultra that's sold in the United States and in South Korea comes with Snapdragon 865 Plus processor, but the rest of the world gets the inferior Exynos 990. Now in isolation, the Exynos 990 is a decent chipset, but the Snapdragon 865 Plus really outclasses it. What's even more frustrating is the fact that, as revealed by some teardown videos on YouTube, that the Exynos variant does not have any copper cooling, whereas the Snapdragon version does get a copper cooling chamber. This was quite evident during my testing of this phone, as while using the camera app just for 5 minutes, the phone started to heat up really uncomfortably. I'll make it very clear that this phone indeed has heating issues because of poor thermal management. And this becomes very evident when you start gaming. Therefore, I suggest that you do only casual gaming on the smartphone, and PUBG players should look elsewhere. The phone has a 4500 mAh battery, which, going by its size, is not very large in the first place. Then, the Exynos 990 does have the tendency to eat up a lot of battery during standby. Therefore, do not expect a screen on time of more than 5.5 hours from your Note 20 Ultra during mixed usage. Alright, so we cannot end a Galaxy Note review without talking about its novelty feature, which is that S Pen stylus. Since the Ultra has a fast 120Hz refresh rate, The stylus now has a latency of only 9 milliseconds, which means that it's literally negligible. So writing on the display is a really nice experience. This, when combined with the general UI navigation and productivity features that the S Pen already offers, ensures that the Note 20 Ultra with its S Pen can potentially be a productivity powerhouse. And there you have it, the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. It looks great, has a fantastic screen, brilliant cameras and a very unique S Pen. However, at Rs 1,05,000, it is also very expensive. It has got heating issues and its chipset is not all that great. Also, the battery life is only mediocre. Therefore, I'll suggest that you consider buying this phone only if you get a really nice cashback offer, which brings down the effective price to under Rs 90,000.